All right, we are back with Greensboro Mayor Nancy Vaughn answering your text questions. All right, this person says, what is the process for holding Greensboro Housing Authority accountable for rundown, unkempt communities and following through with maintenance requests?
So the Greensboro Housing Authority is actually an independent entity. They are not any division of the city of Greensboro, though many people think so because of their name. You know, certainly you can reach out to us and then we can bring that concern forward. I think you might have another question about what's happening to that property.
So there's something else that was on here that dealt with something like that. What is going to be done with the land on West Florida Street where Smith Homes stood?
So that is also owned by the Greensboro Housing Authority, and they took those apartments down because they said that they had outlived their usable life, but that was about 240 units, and I'm disappointed that they took them down before they were ready to rebuild. You know, many years ago they did the same thing over where the old Morningside homes were, and now it's called Willow Oaks, and they do bring back new housing, much more attractive, much more energy efficient, better places to live, and that's what the hope is for Smith, and that this will be the first phase. I don't know when they're going to start to rebuild.
Okay. This is when will the Lake Townsend water treatment renovation be completed?
Boy, you know, I can't tell you for sure. Water and sewer, we have so many projects, water and sewer going on, that it's a little hard to keep them all straight without some notes, but I can try to find that information out for you. I know we're doing significant work over in the Mitchell water treatment plant right now. They seem to get a lot of runoff from the airport, and you know, people who have been keeping up with PFAS and PFOA know that that is the most impacted water treatment plant, and so we have at least $50 million going into that plant to see what we can do to get rid of as much PFAS and PFOA as we can.
Okay. I've got two different questions. They both kind of deal with the same thing. They're about the cans that are left. It says, when will the city follow up on the cans left at the street after pickup? My neighbor leaves the can from 1 week to the next.
So that is done on a complaint basis. We do not have any employees that are driving around looking for cans that are left out on all week long. So that's done on a complaint process. If you want us to come out and ticket them, you know, you can reach out through the city's website. You can go to GSO Collects, which is an app that you can download that has great information about our solid waste department, so that there are ways that you can, you can let us know that you have a neighbor who won't take their cans in.
Have you heard about Piedmont Memorial Park Cemetery? It's not been cared for, grass is overgrown, we can't find our loved ones because the grass is so high.
And that is really heartbreaking. It is not a city-owned cemetery, but we could go out and write them a notice of violation if the grass is too tall. Now, they would have 30 days to respond to that and get it cut, and then they'd let it grow again and we'd send them another notice. I mean, that is something that we can do. But it is not a city property.
And that is a property that has had trouble like that for the last decade.
And that's just a shame that somebody's entrusted the care of people's loved ones and that they are not showing them the respect that they deserve.
So this next question says, what can the city do to get the Center City Park in downtown Greensboro back to being what it was intended for?
Boy, that is a conversation that we have quite often, and it seems to have become a gathering place where people who are living without shelter congregate during the day. And unfortunately, it's a mess, and people are concerned. Residents, visitors are concerned about walking through the park because it is very unsightly. We are working with our service providers to see that if people who are living in the parks, and it's not just the parks, we hear about tent encampments throughout the whole city. We need some of our service providers to step up. I was really pleased that the county is at the table having these discussions, but we need them to do a little bit more.
We have about a minute left or so. Do you have an update on like the IRC or anything like that?
So I believe that this week that they are starting with the private security. The city has been out there on a number of occasions trying to work through issues that they're having when it comes to trash. We get a number of complaints from neighboring business, rightfully so, that their properties are being, are being targeted because people have no place to go, so that they are using their bushes and all for bathroom facilities. And that's difficult. Once somebody leaves the IRC facility, it's not really the IRC's responsibility anymore, but it's our responsibility. What can we do to hold people accountable?
All right. Well, we thank you for your time and for answering all of these questions. If there is a piece of this conversation that you're like, oh, we need to play this back because I need to know what she said about this again, go ahead and go to the Two Wants to Know section. We're going to be posting all of these interviews coming up. WFM1.
And can you post my email address on that?
I can.
And that way, if somebody wants to follow up, they can send me an email.
We can do that.
Okay, thank you.
WFM1 News 2 at 6 is coming up next.
Great.